YouTube is a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work. Recently, I've been using Tana to simplify the process, and I think it's turned out kinda great. Hey there, I'm Kelly. I'm a full-time software developer at Rescue Time, dean at Sigma University, and I also have 6 children. All of that keeps me pretty busy, and on this channel, I like to share what I've learned to help me be more productive while at work and more relaxed while not. And today, that's my Tana workflow for creating these YouTube videos. But before jumping into that, I want to make 2 things clear. Firstly, my workflow is relatively simple. I know some fellow YouTubers who have a whole team of people that they need to manage. I only work with an editor, and all of that communication happens over messages. Secondly, Tana is still really early in its development. And because of that, I've had to add some workarounds to make things work how I want. The good news is that Tana's development team is incredibly active and new features are being added all the time. And in fact, simplifying the content creation process is something that they are actively working on. I know this because, well, I just got off a call with the Tana developers to talk about my workflow and the pain points I have with content creation. I'm really excited for the improvements when they come, and I'm sure I'll make a video on that process when the time comes about. But until then, my workflow works pretty well, at least for me, so let's go through it. Now that we're sitting in front of the computer, I want to reiterate one more time that this isn't an intro to Tana video. If you've just gotten access to Tana, this is probably not the video for you. Instead, it's the YouTube pipeline that I've found that works best for me in Tana. This is largely managed by 4 tags. That's task, recurring task, idea, and YouTube video. I'm not going to go into complete detail on my entire Tana system, but each one of these tags interact with other tags throughout the system in nice ways to help them bubble up and stay visible to me whenever I need to see them. While it's not the primary point of this video, let's start with the task tag because that is kind of the root of everything that I do in Tana. It's really straightforward, and for the purposes of the YouTube pipeline, there's just a couple of the fields that you need to know about. First is the context. For me, context is how I group everything within Tana. Almost everything that I care about from a productivity and life management standpoint extends from the root context tag. So in the case of a YouTube task, its context is the YouTube video that it's associated with. Priority is just a colored circle that helps me identify when I want to get done. Red means I want to get done today, yellow sometimes this week, green, anytime's good, and white, I don't really want to see it near, but I just need to keep it in my memory. The other important field in a task for the YouTube pipeline is this next task. And this I've added to work around the limitations of Tana not having built-in support for sequential tasks. We'll get to that later when you see it in action. The next important tag is recurring task, and once again, this is something else to work around the limitation in Tana of not supporting recurring actions. Recurring tasks are basically just reminders of things that I want to get done on a recurring basis. My implementation of recurring task is based off of RJ Nestor's recurring task framework that he talks about in Tana for tasks, though I've changed it slightly to work with my brain better. Next up is the idea tag, and this is just an overarching tag that I use anytime I want to capture an idea for something, whether it be a YouTube video or something else. The other important field is the idea status field, and that allows me to bubble an idea from a seed into a seedling and then eventually a plant. It's just a fun way to keep track of ideas as well as to remind myself to work through these ideas on a regular basis to, sprout them into life. And then the final tag is of course the YouTube video tag itself. And this is the tag which encompasses everything that is important for the YouTube video, from the title to the thumbnail, publication dates, statuses, as well as, my script, keywords, descriptions, everything. We'll work through that in a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about how my workflow is. Well, it all begins with capturing a YouTube idea using the idea tag. Now, as I already mentioned, idea has 2 fields, context and idea status. Tana is great for quick capture when you're in front of the computer, but unfortunately, quick capture when you're out and about and on mobile is still something that's really lacking. Thankfully, as I talked about in a prior video, I always carry my pocket notebook / wallet with me wherever I go, and then when I get home, I'll just copy that idea down into Tana. So let's do that now. I've got the idea added, so then I just need to tag it with the idea tag. You'll see that automatically starts as a seed. So the only other thing I need to do is manually set the context to YouTube because, this is an idea for my YouTube channel. So that's it. That's all I have to do to capture my YouTube ideas. But unfortunately, just capturing ideas is not enough. You really need a system in place to go back and sprout those ideas, germinate them into a future YouTube idea. And that's what my system allows me to do. And so to do that in my system, I rely on the recurring task field. In particular, I have 2 recurring tasks. The first of these is to spend 15 minutes watering the YouTube seeds. We'll get to what that means in a second. You'll notice I do have some notes here on what that means in case I forget. This is something I want to happen on a weekly basis. So when I'm reminded on it, on the actual due date, all I'll do is go through and bump that out an extra week to remind me next week that I need to do this. Now, what does this look like? What is watering the seeds? Well, when that happens, I'll go to my YouTube Seeds page, just browse through the list, see if there's anything that really calls out to me. And then I'll spend 15 minutes, iterating on the ideas. When I feel that I have enough notes there and the idea has enough traction, that really has sprouted from a seed and it's become a seedling. And so it'll move out of the seeds category next time I move away from this Tana page. The other recurring task also happens weekly, just on a different day of the week. And what I need to do then is to go back and, grow those YouTube seedlings. So when I do that, I go through and I look through my seedlings, which you'll notice is a lot smaller. These are ideas that really have some life to them. They've sprouted, but they need to be developed a little further. So I'll spend half an hour doing that. Usually on this time, I'll pick just one of them, and I will really dive in. The big thing I'm looking for is what is the core feature of this video, and oftentimes the best way of doing that is to come up with a title. Now, the important thing here that distinguishes my YouTube ideas from my other ideas is I don't ever propagate them from a seedling into a plant. Instead, on this day of the week when I'm really working through the seedlings, what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll actually make that a YouTube video when I feel it has enough traction. And then I'll go ahead and remove that idea. Now, let's go back to the page where I actually created this. You'll see down here, once I remove that idea tag, the title of that node disappeared. And that's because I've set up all my YouTube videos to have a custom name. And in this case, it's reliant on the publish num and the title field. So what publish num is, well, that's just an internal reference for me to use referring to the video. In this case, this is video 092. Title, well, title is the final title that I want to go ahead with on this video. And I really try to not make a new YouTube video until I have a title and a thumbnail picked out. And that was based on advice from fellow YouTubers. So in general, down here, I'll go through and I'll add at least 10 title ideas. Now, I'm not going to do that right now, but I will add the one that I came up with earlier, which you can see down here. Hey, look at that. Now that I've got a title and a thumbnail idea picked out, what I'll do is I'll actually copy that title into the title field. And you'll see there, my YouTube video now has a fixed title that is consistent everywhere across my Tana graph. So let's spend some time looking at the YouTube video tag. Well, as you've already seen, there's the publish num and title, which is what the system uses to name the YouTube video. Thumbnail isn't the actual JPEG thumbnail that I use on the YouTube video, but that of course doesn't get added until the last step of the process. Target publish date, well, this is the date that I really want to publish the video. Now that we have the title and the internal reference number set for the YouTube video, let's look at some of the other fields that are on the YouTube video tag. First is thumbnail, and this is the actual JPEG thumbnail that I use on the final video. Now, of course, I can't add that right now. That only gets added once I create the thumbnail. Though, remember, I did create the idea for the thumbnail down below already. Target publish date, well, this is the day that I want to publish my video, and usually this happens on Thursdays. In this case, it'll be next week on Thursday. Publish date, that's used later. That's the date that I actually do publish because unfortunately, life happens and I don't always publish when I mean to. Status is the general status for this YouTube video. Is it active, something I'm working on? Have I put on hold? Have I decided to completely drop the idea? Or have I completed it and it's now published on YouTube? YouTube category is another options list, and this is just some various things I like to focus on my channel. In this case, it doesn't really fit into any of these, so let's go ahead and call it tutorials. Now, tasks is the core of my system. In this case, I have two groups of tasks. Parallel tasks, these are tasks that can happen anytime while making the video. And sequential tasks, these can only happen after the previous one in the steps have been completed. So what I do is I go ahead and I mark both of the parallel tasks as tasks. This means they're now available, they're in my task management system, and I will get to them when I have time. For the sequential tasks, I only go in and mark the first one as a task. The other ones do not get marked as a task until the one before has been completed. I'll show you my workflow for that in a second. Let's scroll down a little bit and see some other things I have in the YouTube video. Well, first of all, there's a context dashboard. This is inherited from all context, and this is just some general things such as tasks remaining and completed, meetings involving this, or notes. Meetings don't really happen too much with a YouTube video, but it's there in case I need it. Title and thumbnail ideas we've already looked at. Keywords is the place where I'll drop in some keywords as I think of them throughout the week of things that are useful to put into the YouTube algorithm. Description is where I'll write out the description for this YouTube video, and this includes the placeholders that I always use there every single week. And that's socials as well as a place for timestamps when I get them back from my editor. And then there's a script with 4 basic segments, and in this case right here, something neat to know about the script is sometimes I just outline, but other times I'm like, hey, an overhead shot of me typing would make a really cool B-roll shot. So I can just go through and tag this as B-roll. Now, you'll notice that this automatically associates this B-roll with the video that is being added under. What's neat about this is I have a collection right here of B-roll shots. So when it's time that I want to go through and film some B-roll, I just need to open this up and go through them one by one, and they're automatically pulled from the script. That's really cool. Unfortunately, B-roll filming is a bit of a pain, and it's something I don't get to very often. So now that we've gone through the entire YouTube video tag, let's talk about how this works in daily practice. So now that the YouTube video is set up and you understand the tag itself, next I'll just show you how I work through this on a daily basis in my task management system. What I have right here is a copy of my daily dashboard. Now this is a streamlined version of it. I've filtered out a lot of the tasks so we can only focus on the YouTube pipeline itself. You can see this is where those recurring tasks are bubbled up to me, but for right now we're going to focus on the This Week tab, which is where the tasks actually appear. Now, some of those, like write description or create the thumbnail, are things that I can just complete and be done with them. Others, like choose title and thumbnail, those were the sequential tasks, and you'll notice that I've added a reminder here to myself to mark the next task as a task. What this means is, say I go through and I finish the title and thumbnail, then I actually go through and before clicking this off is done, I go down to the next task, tag it as a task, and you'll notice that Tana right there pops up a little help for you. Then I can mark it as done, it disappears, and the next task is available for me. Now, why do I do this? Well, frankly, because I could go through and mark all of these as tasks, but then they would all show up here. But really, I need to script the video before I can record it. And so that's why I've set up this workaround until Tana adds full recurring task support. Now, this may seem like a complicated process, but remember, I'm usually only doing one of these tasks a day, so it's really not that bad. Now this is just my daily view, my actually task-focused view. I do have a separate dashboard dedicated to just my YouTube video pipeline itself, and that is visible here. On this page, I can see everything in the seeds, the seedlings, also the videos that are currently in progress. Now, when that final task is done, you'll see this mark is completed. All I need to do is go up and set the status from active to completed, and it disappears from my videos in progress. And it'll appear on the nice finished page, which I've set up as a nice visual dashboard for every YouTube video that I've worked on. Now, I know if you're new to Tana, this is a bit complex, and frankly, getting all the tags and systems worked out took a little bit of time, but in practice, using it on a daily basis goes really, really quick, and it's really smooth for me, and it's something that I found really helps in making these videos. Now, we're done, and we're gonna go back out, whoosh, outside of the video. And really, that's all there is to it. I know if you're new to Tana, that was probably a little bit complex, your mind might be a little bit blown by everything I had to do to make that work. But really, once you're used to Tana, it is a piece of cake, and me, I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to making some more Tana videos, and if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments down below what exactly you'd like to see from my Tana workflow. Do you want just a basic welcome to Tana video, or is there something specific you'd like to see? Please let me know. Till then, bye. Blah, 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 talking head screen share video. Then we come to the conclusion. Okay, let's hope that this is working. If you have any questions, nope, no more if you have any questions. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.